We actually have one more keynote speech. Stay with us because this brave guy is the last one before the coffee break.
Tako, još imamo jedno predavanje prije pauze za kavu i mislim da je gospodin, službeno ga možemo prozvati i najljepšom bradom konferencije.
Absolutely. The first beard of the conference, ladies and gentlemen, lovely gentleman who will be the most brave among you because he has 20 minutes which separates you from the best part of the conference, which is coffee break, lunch break, and city tour. Every day we have something for you, so it's okay. We call this lovely gentleman to stand in front of you with his presentation. Do you know the name of the presentation? Because in English it's even more expensive.
Why is cybersecurity crucial to the industry? Marko Gulan.
Ako itko zna zašto je cybersecurity bitan za industriju, zna Marko Gulan. Dobrodošli,
Schneider
gospodine
Electric.
Gulan. Schneider Electric.
Cybersecurity consultant.
Danke.
Hvala.
Sad mogu i umriti kad me Frano najavio.
Nemaš problema. Uključeno u cijenu.
Dobar dan svima. Hvala što ste ostali na prezentaciji. Moram priznati da nije lako stajati ovdje. S obzirom da je konferencija međunarodnog karaktera, ja ću nastaviti na engleskom i ispričavam se na svim gramatičkim greškama. Thank you for all, thank you to all of you who are attending this presentation. We will talk about industrial cybersecurity. So I think, and I'm sure that first thing which you think about when we talk about cybersecurity is a password, it's a data, it's a username. No one or just little part of us thinking about industrial control systems and how much we are dependent on the industrial control systems. And so, complete story is beginning maybe 10 years ago with something which we called Stuxnet.
Two answers before you even get started. I don't know, and if I did, we wouldn't talk about it anyway.
Something as simple and innocuous as this becomes a challenge for all of us to maintain accountability control of our critical infrastructure systems. This actually contains the Stuxnet virus. It's impacting industrial control. Is this something that's coming after the homeland? If you get up in the morning and turn off your alarm and make coffee,
power plants, power grids,
and pump gas,
transportation, telecommunication,
and use the ATM, you've touched industrial control systems. It's what powers our lives.
Most of these systems are relatively easy for a sophisticated hacker
to get into.
The security experts who are studying Stuxnet really think it required the resources of a nation state.
It spread to any Windows machine in the entire world. We didn't know if it was set to turn off all electricity plants around the world, or it would start shutting things down or launching some attack.
It was blowing up centrifuges, and it was leaving no trace.
There have been assassinations of nuclear scientists. Some human assets had to be involved. Spies.
It went beyond our worst fears, our worst nightmares.
This is not your ordinary criminal doing this. This is someone bigger.
The monster turned against its creator, and now everyone is in this game.
This has the whiff of August 1945. Somebody just used a new weapon, and this weapon will not be put back into the box.
You've been focusing on Stuxnet, but that was just a small part of a much larger mission.
Does already take a look of this documentary film, Zero Day. So it's one of the best in the class. Try to find it and take a look. So you have tons of the great information inside and how today cyberspace is working and what are the real vulnerables to us. So I would like to continue these presentations with some numbers. We have just some trends. These data are all maybe 2 years, and I think that today numbers are more dramatic, maybe regarding to all these cyber threats. But we have every 14 seconds one ransomware attack in the world. We need just 5 minutes to IoT device when it is connected to the internet that it became hacked. So typically pass between breaches and the date of the discovery and reported date is 50 days. So someone is sitting or someone has our data and intellectual property for 50 days before we know what happened during some cyber attack. And this is maybe one of the worst information, that only 2% of IT budget is investing in security. And security is maybe today one of the important part of the IT, OT and ICS. When I talk about OT, it's operational technology. That is the combination of software and hardware which all of us using in the industry in our producing lines. And maybe we are forgetting that the industrial control systems are maybe the only part of the company which produce money for us. You have IT, you have ERPs, CRM systems, which are supporting business. And when you have producing line, when you producing sausages, milk, juices, when you are producing critical infrastructure services, something like electricity, oil, gas, so that is producing the money. And all of these systems are supporting systems to deliver your products to the market, to the end customers. Also, we have some average cost of the breach is $3.0 million. So the cost of the breach is not the cost which you have to pay to the cyber crimes that you can maybe buy out your documents. So this about your breach are depending your partners. You have complete stop in your supply chain. Your suppliers cannot do their business because you have stop in your industry. Also, one of the shocking data is that today 92% of the cyber attacks are coming through our emails. So you have the strongest and the weakest point in your chain, and it's that are your employees. And so employees in industry are not so familiar with the IT, with their computers. They are just doing their business on producing lines. So we have to defend them from the outside and inside threats, and we have to make another or new part of the philosophy how to defend industrial control systems. So as Mr. Vito told, rethink security. We have to rethink and redefine cybersecurity in industrial. So if someone takes control over your control system infrastructure, it could prove fatal. So it's causing power outages. Try to imagine that you have 2 days without electricity and telecommunications. First thing, when someone is happened, we are taking out our mobile phones and trying to Google, Bing it, or something like that, and try to find what happened in the world. So try to imagine that you don't have telecommunication services for the 1 day. You are cut out from the outspace. You can paralyze transport system. We saw in the Magnolia Pictures video that someone can take control of your transport system. So also it could triggering ecological catastrophes. So that are the most challenging parts of the cybersecurity today. So cyber threats in the industry over the last decade has potential growth. And so we are continuously think about IT and how to patch antiviruses, how to implement new firewalls, how to replace network equipment. And so one thing that whole market is forget, and that in IT, when you have antivirus system, it is built that to be maybe active for the 3 to 5 years. When you have industrial control systems, you have it system which have to be up and running maybe more than 10 years. Most of these systems in industrial are working with Windows 3.1, XP, Vista, Windows 7, which are out of support from their producers, from the Microsoft. It's not it's not problem from the Microsoft. They told us that they will not support these old systems. It is okay, but we did not redefine and make re-architecturing of our networks. So just few examples in industrial control systems, which was the terrible disease. In August 2020, there was in Saudi Arabia state Aramco. So they had attack and they had infected around 30,000 computers. They was totally stopped with their production with the oil and gas. I don't know how many days, 3, 2, 4, 5. Try to imagine how many money they are losing when they are not producing oil and gas in 1 minute. So then we had water and wastewater systems. Maybe we can talk about last year's attack on the Oldsmar, Florida, where the attackers, through the unpatched web application for the payment system, entrance into ERP, I don't know which was maybe SAP or Navision, and they easily walk through the system and they take control over the SCADA. So the operators in the water treatment system cannot do anything. They could not stop spreading of the malware. And so that was a dramatic situation. They had, I don't know, maybe 20% of their water to deliver it to their customers, and 80% was flooded. Also, we had some attacks in food and beverage companies in producing food and beverage. That was factory in Australia, and their producing was stopped because their equipment was not patched and was not updated. Also, power grid. This is maybe the biggest cyber attack. It was in Ukraine, and today's the biggest struggles on the market are how to save and how to make resilient and secure critical services. Water, oil and gas, electricity, telecommunications. So telecommunications are not directly the critical infrastructure, but complete critical infrastructure is relying on the telco services. If telco does not work, you don't have your industrial control systems working. So we are talking about digital transformation today. We will not make few steps back and continue to work analog. We are in the era of digital transforming. Someone this morning to speak short and a little bit about Industry 4.0. We are talking about Industry 5.0, which will be more human than the Industry 4.0. But we have to aware which risks we have in industry, which are not caused by digital transformation. But digital transformation opened the eyes to the people what problems we just cancelled last 10 years. Okay, so we have a problem. Okay, put it somewhere else. We have another problem. Put it somewhere else. And in the era of digital transformation, we realize that cybersecurity, that security is not included from the start. We have to make systems with a built-in cybersecurity inside. So we have some parts of the cybersecurity, and maybe this picture is the best representation of IEC 62443 standard, which is the same or similar like the ISO 27001 in the IT world. So we have to cover our systems and to redefine security and divide some parts of the network, and at the same time they have to collaborate. Air gapping as a philosophy is not more, today is not, how to say, update. Stuxnet in Natanz in Iran, that system that nuclear power plant, their nuclear accelerators, there was totally offline of the internet, but they was attacked by the ransomware. So air gapping or taking the industrial systems offline is not good strategy. And a few weeks ago in Portugal, in NATO, we also had some data breaches, but that was air-gapped system. That system was offline. It did not get any connections with the internet. And so they had, I think, 30 terabytes of the data on the dark web. So air gapping is not solution for the industrial control systems. So we have to defend our systems from the crimes. So it's cyber crimes, from the malware, from the ransomware or something like that. And then we have another part, we have hacktivism, hacktivists. So they are like terrorists in, I call it sports criminals. They want to do something in your system, but they just do it because they can. So they do not have any bad ideas, and they don't want to make any damage to your system. Then we have the terrorists. So they want to damage your nuclear plants, your industrial control systems, your operational technologies. Then on the third part, we also have warfare. So we have the new era of war in the cyberspace. Cyberspace is the new field when some countries have their wars. Information, disinformation management, I don't know how to maybe make destabilization in the countries. So that is the weapon today. And also we have espionage. So maybe most of the companies are thinking that if they, in their policies, have some line that you don't, you cannot use your USBs, that they are secure from the espionage, but it's not true. So I know some companies which had glue in their USB ports in the computers, and they also had data breaches on the dark web. So that is maybe one part. So today we have to talk about building the bridges before IT and industrial control systems. So that is the way how we can be resilient, safe, and secure. So we have the management. They care about cybersecurity, but they don't know what they care about. They know just cybersecurity and that's else. Then we have IT guys, and they told, we know everything about cybersecurity, but we don't care about processes, we don't care about operational technologies. Operational technologies, they became part of the cybersecurity maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and they were systems of, they were part of automations. They became part of the cybersecurity when digital transformation makes some impact on operational technology. They know anything about operations, but they don't know anything about cybersecurity. And we are, at the moment, we have to build this green dot. So that is the bridge. We need to learn IT and OT how they need to talk between each other and how to make their system secure. So I mentioned maybe a few minutes before that we have standards in IT, and it is ISO 27001, and industrial it is IEC 62443. And so we have actually global directive or maybe some standard which told us how we have to build industrial systems that they can be resilient. Also, we have another issue today because we have two parts, IT and OT, and they are looking at the same point somewhere there in this space, but they have totally different ways of a view. So while the IT is looking on confidentiality, integrity and availability, so IT just want to have confidential of the data. So the OT guys, they care just about availability. So you can have in your industry many errors, but one error you don't want to have, and that is stop of the production line. So that is the point when you start losing your money. So just availability is for the industry in the focus. Integrity, confidentiality, so it's somewhere down there. And you have some parts of these things that they are crossed between each other, and we have to merge IT and OT and make it stable and secure. So this is one of the systems which is built regarding to IEC 62443 and how it is divided between layers. You have layer 0 to layer 4, and every this layer, it represents one of the security level of your system, and depends of cruciality of your system, you have to implement some security levels in your industry. So you can have, okay, so you can have maybe some attacks on the layer 4 on enterprise level, and that is, I don't know, unauthorized connection, and you can really really easily and stop these attacks. Also infected remote support or maybe misconfiguration firewall. But inside of your control systems, in this edge control part, it is really hard to isolate these attacks and keep your system safe and secure. So the main idea of the building cyber secure industrial control system in first way is to stop cyber attack, but it is not possible. It is not question will you be hacked. It is question when you will be hacked. So we have to be focused on the part how we can minimize the risks after the cyber attack. We try to stop it, but we will have the weakest party in the chain. It can be employee, it can be something else, some USB, DVD or something like that. Or it could be maybe unpatched PLC in your producing line. But we have to isolate it that when we have attack, it cannot be spread to the whole system. And we have to take it inside of one of the layer. So this is the same like the slide with hacktivism, terrorism, and we have it a few minutes ago. So it is 5 to 12 that we have to rethink about cybersecurity in the industrial. We have to redefine it and keep in your mind, every company in their environment has enough equipment which is not utilized by the policies, and every system can be re-architectured in the 7 to 14 days. That could be security level 2 or 3, and that means that they are resilient on the cyber terrorism, cybercrime and cyber attacks. So try to imagine how many money you will lose with 1 minute if your industrial system is out. So that is my last message. Thank you for being here, and thank you for listening to this presentation.
Dronovi.